I spent the next morning packing my bags in preparation to go home. I'm going to miss this place. A knock at my door startled me out of my thoughts. I opened it to see a man standing there with my phone in hand.
The games are over, so you can have this back.
He handed me my phone.
Now, if you could please hand me your tokens from yesterday's games so I can take them to be counted.
Yeah, sure. I quickly grabbed the tokens from my dresser and handed them to him. So, when will the winners be announced?
Tonight, at the ball. Good luck, Miss C.
With that, he turned on his heel and walked away. It's really over. I closed the door before glancing at my phone. 3 missed calls. I dialed the number I knew by heart and waited for the person on the other side to pick up.
Emma, hey. I honestly didn't expect to hear from you right now. I mean, you'll be back home tomorrow.
Mira.
What's wrong? Do I need to beat someone up?
I laughed at the seriousness in her voice. No, it's nothing like that.
Then what is it? You sound sad, and I don't like it when you're sad.
I don't want it to be over. I just want...
Did you hook up with somebody?
No.
That hesitation. There's someone whose bones you want to jump?
No. I don't want to jump him. It's not like that.
But you do like him.
Yes.
So why don't you tell him?
He's so shy and too nice, and, well, I'm worried that if I do, he'll just go along with what I want even if he doesn't. Well, that or run.
You sure know how to pick them, don't you?
I guess I do. So, yeah, I'm not going to tell him.
Are you sure about this, though?
Yeah. I mean, if he really cares, he'll do something, right?
Even if he doesn't, there are plenty more fish in the sea. In fact, there's this...
No more blind dates, Mira. You know what happened last time.
But that was just a one-off. If I had known...
It wasn't a once-off. Remember the time before that? Or last Christmas?
Okay, fine. No more blind dates. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know you mean well.
I do. So when you get home, I'll have your favorite movie and 2 cartons of ice cream waiting.
Thanks, Mira. I talked to Mira a bit longer before we said our goodbyes and I went back to packing. When I'd packed all my clothes, I paused and looked wistfully at the Mr. Wolf and Purple Tiger dolls sitting side by side on my bed. I swallowed the lump in my throat as I gently picked them up and placed them into my suitcase. I glanced at the clock and let out a sigh. It was time to get ready for the ball. When it was time, a servant knocked at my door to escort me to the ballroom. As I walked through the corridors, I couldn't help but remember the excitement of the last 2 weeks. I'm really going to miss this place. As the doors opened, I was met with the now familiar sight of the crowd of beautifully dressed people milling around. I looked around for my teammates. I spotted Mr. Bandages leaning against a wall, and Mr. Wolf blushing furiously in the middle of a crowd of women. See? You can't say no. As for the Count, I couldn't see him anywhere. I walked over to Mr. Bandages. So, where's the Count? I didn't think he'd miss the ball.
Just because you can't see him doesn't mean he isn't around. This place is huge.
I guess you're right. The light suddenly dimmed as a spotlight illuminated a single figure, Erik.
Good evening to all my guests. I would once again like to thank all of you for attending this event of mine. It wouldn't have been the same without every single one of you here. I'd also like to thank my staff for being so understanding and working so hard ensuring the games ran as smoothly as they did. Now, as some of you have already figured out, this is the last annual Valdemar Spooktacular that I will be hosting.
A murmur ran through the crowd. I looked up at Mr. Bandages to see his unhappy, silent expression.
It's truly been an honor for me. If anyone else wishes to pick up the tradition, by all means do so. Invite me, and I'll gladly join in the games. Just don't ask me to host them.
Humorous laughter ran through the crowd.
I'm afraid I've gotten too old for this. Well, that's enough of that. Please, everyone, enjoy this final night. I will announce the winner of this year's games in a few hours. Happy Halloween, everyone.
I left Mr. Bandages to grab a plate of food. As I filled my plate, my eyes met Mr. Wolf's pleading ones. I quickly grabbed a second plate and filled it up before carrying both over to where Mr. Wolf stood surrounded by women. Here you go, honey. I made sure to get all your favorites. I handed him one of the plates and had to suppress a giggle at his confused expression. I know that I said I wasn't feeling well, but my headache went away, so now I can spend the night with you just like you wanted.
I'm glad.
Sure was nice of all these girls to keep you company while I was unavailable, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Still, now that I'm here, they can get back to their own dates. Isn't that right, honey?
Right.
He smiled shyly at me, and I grinned as the women that had grown increasingly uncomfortable since I walked over started to leave. Well, that was easier than I expected.
You're way too good at that.
It's a handy skill to have.
So, you do it often then?
Oh, no. But I've seen Mira pull those moves a few times.
Oh, okay.
We walked around trying to eat off our plates, but it was proving difficult with the crowd that was always about.
This isn't working. Should we head out to the balcony?
Sure. It's bound to be easier out there. We walked over to one of the balcony doors and out onto the empty balcony. Oh, hey, this feels much better. There's definitely more room to move.
Yeah.
I plopped myself down onto one of the benches on the side and patted the part next to me. Take a seat, honey. We can enjoy the food now. I smiled as I watched his face get redder before he joined me on the bench. I'm going to miss this.
Me too. These 2 weeks went by so fast.
They did. It was really great, though. I'm glad it happened, and I'm doubly glad to have met you.
I feel the same way. I nearly backed out of coming, but my manager pushed me to do it, and I'm really glad I did. If I hadn't, I'd never have met you.
You're really sweet, you know that? If I end up with someone, I hope they'll be as sweet as you.
I'm as sweet as me.
Well, yeah. I don't see how you wouldn't be.
That was a weird thing to say, wasn't it?
Kinda, yeah.
Well, what I meant to...
He was cut off by Mr. Bandages striding out onto the balcony.
So this is where you guys were. Come on, it's almost time for Erik to announce the winners.
He led us back to the center of the ballroom just in time for the lights to dim and the spotlight to shine on Erik. A hushed silence descended through the room as everyone waited in anticipation for the winners to be announced.
It's finally time for what you've all been waiting for. I know you've all worked hard, and soon you'll know if it paid off. But first, let's reveal the prizes. The first prize is a one-of-a-kind set of jewelry fashioned by the upcoming jewelry maker of the year, Reno. Next is a Lambo Vino. For those of you who aren't car enthusiasts, it's a very limited edition car capable of amazing speeds. There's also an all-expenses-paid trip for 4 to the Maldives for 2 weeks. The tickets are transferable, so they can be given away as gifts if the winners aren't interested. And lastly, there's a magnificent framed painting of Kippy painted by yours truly.
The crowd groaned loudly at this.
Okay, I kid. I didn't paint it. It was painted by an up-and-coming artist, though. Now remember, all 4 of these prizes go to the winning team to divide however they wish. Okay, and the winners are... Mr. Wolf, Mr. Bandages, the Count, and Miss Archer! Congratulations! Give it up for them, everybody!
The crowd burst into applause, even as Mr. Wolf and I stared at each other in shock.
Holy crap, we actually won.
We won?
Please come up to collect your trophy. Yes, there's a trophy too.
Mr. Bandages, Mr. Wolf, and I made our way to the stage, and I noticed the Count do so too. Mr. Bandages fixed Erik with a glare.
That car is mine.
That's for you to discuss with your team. It's no matter of mine.
We did it!
We did! The Count just remained silently smiling.
Aren't you excited, Count?
I watched his eyes widen and dart around before he nodded.
The Count has a bit of a sore throat, Mr. Wolf.
Oh, I'm sorry, Count. I hope you feel better soon.
Mr. Wolf looked at the Count for a moment longer.
Is it just me, or is there something different about the Count?
Oh, you know what they say. You look like a totally different person when sick.
I guess you're right.
And that concludes the final night of the Valdemar games. There's still plenty of food, drinks, and music, so don't hurry off just yet. Enjoy this final night!
He gave us all a final handshake before the crowd converged on him once again.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get used to seeing that happen. Now, back to business. That car is mine. Divide the rest however you want, but no one else is touching that car. Oh, and Count says he wants that Kippy picture.
We all turned to him in shock.
Don't look at me. He mouthed that he wanted it. I just lip read.
So that just leaves the trip and the jewelry.
The jewelry is beautiful, but I think it'll suit you much more than me.
Oh, well then you can have the trip.
Well, there's really only one person I want to spend it with.
Oh, well then you can go twice. The tickets don't have an expiration date.
No, I meant... What can I do to make you understand?
He looked at my face in exasperation before grabbing my arm and pulling me towards him. I could hear the crowd whistle loudly as he deepened the kiss.
It's about time. Looks like the kid finally grew a pair.
As Mr. Wolf let me go, he whispered.
Do you understand now?
I lifted a hand to my still tingling lips. You like me romantically?
Yeah, I've been trying to tell you for days, but...
But she's oblivious and you're an idiot. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some keys to collect. Come on, Count. You can collect your Kippy painting, too.
Mr. Bandages dragged the Count off the stage and left Mr. Wolf and I standing there. Mr. Wolf stood there expectantly, but wouldn't meet my eyes.
Your answer?
Did he propose? Say yes!
How do May and December sound to you?
Wait, does that mean...
Yes. My answer is yes. He scooped me up into a big hug before announcing,
Yes! She said yes!
The crowd burst into thunderous applause. I allowed myself to enjoy his embrace for a few moments longer before pulling away to look him in the eye. Hey, Mr. Wolf, didn't you say you'd sing us a victory song? His smile was infectious as he replied.
I did, didn't I?
Mr. Wolf spoke to the musicians that were playing before heading towards the mic. He seemed like a different person as he grasped it.
Okay. If I can get everyone's attention, I'd like to dedicate this song to the girl that just made me the happiest guy in the world.
A familiar tune began to play and heads swiveled in his direction.
Oh gosh, that's Tiger! I touched Tiger! That girl is marrying Tiger?
Well, crap. Mira's going to be so jealous. He finished the song and smiled at me. A sudden wail drew our attention to the girls that suddenly burst into tears.
He's getting married! And not to me!
Similar cries broke out all over the ballroom.
We should get out of here.
Right behind you. We left the ballroom and after going through a bunch of corridors, emerged at the entrance to one of Eric's gardens. Tyler.
Yes, Emma?
There's something I should tell you. I probably should have told you before I said yes, but I was caught up in the moment and everyone was watching.
You're not already seeing someone, are you?
No, it's nothing like that.
Oh, thank goodness. I can handle anything else you throw at me then.
Well, you came to this event because your manager wanted you to make connections, right? Well, I don't have any. None whatsoever. I won a radio competition to come here. I'm not rich or famous. I'm just your average girl.
Okay, that I can handle. To be honest, I'm kind of relieved. My family's pretty normal too, and I don't know how I'd act around your family if they were rich.
So, you're not disappointed?
Why would I be disappointed? Are you disappointed? About finding out I'm Tiger? And that Tiger's just a normal guy under all the flashy clothes, wigs, and makeup?
Honestly, no. I didn't really care much about Tiger. But Tyler, On the other hand, I guess I got my sweet guy after all.
See? I told you I was as sweet as me.
We giggled as we shared more kisses under the clear night sky.